Howdy Internet, this is Jake Pendragon from the Hill with the next episode of Sword It All. Today I'm going to be talking about my European Bastard Sword. Now this is an Amazon purchase that I got for like maybe 50-60 bucks. So it's not that good of a quality of a blade, but it works for the purposes of me just owning swords and just feeding my hobby. My very, very expensive hobby. Alright. Now, this is in fact made of real metal, but the difference is this thing isn't sharpened. I can literally just grab it right here, or here, or here, and it won't cut. But regardless, I should probably still handle it with care. Now, this specific sword is considered a bastard sword. A bastard sword is categorized by the fact that it is too long to be considered a short sword, but not long enough to be considered a long sword. However, because bastard has a lot of negative connotation towards it, a lot of people also like to consider this sword a hand-and-a-half sword. But I like the term bastard sword mostly because it kind of sounds cool. But I can understand why people wouldn't be comfortable with calling it a bastard sword. Now, bastard swords are called as such because, again, they can't really be considered long swords or short swords, which were the most common types of swords in medieval Europe. However, by making swords like this, they kind of made their own categorization. Now, a hand-and-a-half sword or bastard sword can be classified specifically by the fact that it can be wielded one-handed or two-handed. And most bastard swords would have a bottleneck design and a very strict distinction between one hand and the other hand. Now, most bastard swords are actually designed less for the cut and more for the thrust. Given its length and the fact that it's more towards the thrust than the cut, the bastard sword was designed for half-swording, or grabbing the sword halfway around the length of the blade to increase the dexterity of your point work. Now, the reason why this would be an effective technique in swordplay is if you want to fight A, in close quarters, or B, if you need that extra dexterity in your point work to, say, jam it in between pieces of armor to get that kind of coverage. This specific sword can also be used in many other different ways. Like, for example, it has a good hand protection. Whereas if you go blade on blade, it's going to get you there. As well as a really nice pommel, which I think in most instances the pommel is mostly used as a bludgeoning tool. I need to do more research on what pommels actually are used for besides that. And looking cool. This one specifically has a nice little shield with a lion on it. It's kind of cool. But anyway, all in all, it's a really good weapon. Yes, it doesn't have as good of a cut as, say, a long sword or a short sword or a cutlass or a saber or any of those other cutting-based weapons, but what it does well. And I would consider this to be a very good weapon design-wise. This one specifically is really good. Especially, I didn't kind of bring this up in my Keyblade video because I forgot to mention it, but it also has an ovular type of grip. Now, the reason why that's important, very specifically, is because one thing I very much showed off a bunch with the Keyblade video is that I'd have to be very careful where the edge alignment is. However, with a more ovular hilt, that's not much of an issue. It kind of guides the hands along with the proper cut. Which in turn makes this an amazing weapon. But again, all in all, really great. One of the higher up weapons in my specific sword collection. And the reason why I rank it so highly is it's a really nice looking sword and it's functional. A lot of my other swords in my collection are either half tang or in serious need of repairs or just aren't practical in any sense of the word. I'd say I only have 2 functioning swords, and this is one of them. And that's not to include the daggers that I have in my collection. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'm sorry this probably isn't going to be as long as the Keyblade video, mostly because the Keyblade has a lot of Kingdom Hearts lore, and I am a huge Kingdom Hearts nerd. Huge Kingdom Hearts nerd. But I still am really happy with swords in general, and the ones that I have in my collection. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next Sword It All. Really sorry that this came out so late. We're still doing renovations. In fact, there's still things in my room that don't belong. But I was able to make this video, and I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll probably catch you guys all next Fridays. Have a wonderful day.